Hello and welcome to the Mirrored Muse podcast, a sanctuary for the soul and a spark for the revolutionary spirit, where our truth is always reflected, our radiance remembered, and our spirit set free. I'm your host, Whitney Amber, and together we'll journey into the depths of what it means to awaken, embody, and expand as the muse of our own life. Through soulful storytelling, raw reflections, guided practices, and revolutionary conversations, this podcast is here to truly meet you in your own becoming. So let's take a deep breath, soften our edges. It's time to step into the mirror. This is your invitation to rise. Hey love, welcome back to another episode of the Mirrored Muse podcast. We are at episode 11. I cannot believe it. And today I want to get into finally the last chapter of what I'm calling my 2025 Eat, Pray, Love remix, aka Release, Rewrite, Receive. So you guessed it. This week we're talking everything Paris. And I gotta stop calling it Paris because really at this point it's France. Because I started in Paris, but I'm now in Aix-en-Provence, which is in the south of France. And fun fact, so my sun line runs through this city. And when I tell you, I can absolutely, oh my God, I can feel the difference of this energy. It's so beautiful. And the whole theme around your sunline is the energy makes you more luminous and just like radiant, especially when it comes to relationships. So for those of you curious, I haven't met him yet, but we got a few more days. So TBD. Okay, let's get into it. As we know, I'm naming my remix Release, which we talked about week 1, that was Bali. Rewrite, that was last week's episode for Spain. And the final chapter. This is Receive. Yes, guys, it feels as good as it sounds. I can assure you. And I don't know what's coming, but it just feels like I'm just getting started with this whole receiving thing. So we'll see what happens. Okay, quick recap. So my first 2 locations, they were islands. And, with islands come a slower pace, very chill, lots of sun, and just go with the flow. You don't really have to plan logistically. Just a whole different vibe, okay? And where we left off last week, I had mentioned a certain friend who was in my life who we were doing some traveling together in Spain. And here's what's interesting. So, and for sure, the receiving kind of ombre'd, balayaged, if you will, into Spain. So the seeds were starting to be planted there and for sure carried on through Paris. And so my friend, he was like, usually whenever I travel, I always end up in Paris. And I felt him wanting to mention like going on to Paris. So I was like, okay, sure. I take that back. I was not like, okay, sure. He mentions it to me. And I was like full body, like frustration, just like total toot about it. I was just like, no, at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because in my mind, it was like, no, like Paris is my chapter. This is the chapter for me. I've been sharing all this space with everyone, starting in Bali, continuing on into Spain. Like Paris was the chapter where I get me time and me back. And I wouldn't change anything about Bali or Spain. But one thing about me is I need my space. I need my little cocoon bubble to write, to journal, to read, to just be. And so I was looking so forward to that. And also, I didn't want to plant expectations. If he were to come on to Paris, like I didn't want to have to revisit that conversation and clarify what this is and or was, right? So anyway, I worked through my frustration. He was like, just feel through it. Like, that's fine. Just let me know how you're feeling. So closer to us leaving, I was like, okay, I think it's going to be fine. I think it would be beautiful. So he ends up coming to Paris, and thank God, you guys. What? Like, it was the most divine gift was his presence the first couple days. When I tell you, okay, wait, let me back up. So when we land in Paris, the whole flight there, I just felt like such a warmth and like a wonder and curiosity of like, oh my God, what is this next location gonna hold for me? What's here for me? I don't know. And we land, this man just taking care of my luggage, like the angel that he is. I'm so grateful. And so like logistics, getting into, I can't remember if we got a taxi or an Uber, but just like there was so much ease and flow. And just a reminder, like for the last 9.5 years, when I travel by myself. So this is new to me. Okay. And oh my God. So we get in the car, we're heading to, different places or whatever. And I just felt this energy of not just ease, but like, how do I describe this? Like it felt vibrant. It felt radiant. And yeah, I started getting super excited. So we get to the place, we're unloading bags. And again, I'm finding myself like, oh my gosh, let me do it. And he's taking care of all of it. And in that moment, I felt a different type of shift in my heart posture when it comes to receiving. And I don't think I'll ever unhear that voice now of him saying, what, you don't trust me to handle this? So we're back in that same but different. And so it was beautiful, And from the time I landed in Paris to the time that I left, which at this point was just a few days ago, for those of you tuning in, it will have been a week at that point, I think, since I left. And so Paris holds a very special place in my heart. Its energy was, first of all, I hadn't been in a city since Chicago. So from March to August, 5 months, it had been a minute since I'd felt that hustle bustle, the fast pace, and just like the energy of a big city. And it was a little overwhelming. It took me a solid 2 to 3 days to like ground and be. And so, the impact on me that this city brought, that I was able to receive, is embracing my own radiance. And this showed up a million different ways. So I want to talk about a very specific experience I had, which was going to a movie. The movie was named, I think, In the Mood for Love. So it's an Asian film. And when we go, I think it was assumed that the subtitles would be in English. How American of me. Because the subtitles were definitely in French. for sure. And when we realized this, he was like, if you don't want to stay, if you just let me know when you're ready to go. Because he had already seen the movie and it was one of his favorites. And so he was just like, oh God, she's not going to understand anything of this. But actually, it turned out to be one of the most beautiful experiences because I didn't know the language. I didn't know either language, the subtitles or what was being spoken. So all I was left with was feeling, like navigating this whole story via emotions and feelings and what that brought up, which was a first experience for me, for sure. But it was so profound because in that moment of feeling, it took a minute to warm up to it. Because I'm not gonna lie, there was like this tiny moment in the beginning that was like, oh my God, why am I staying for this? This is so inconvenient. However, in the inconvenience and the discomfort, it's amazing what we can decipher, what we can read and know just based off of our emotions and feeling our way through it. It was beautiful. And I'll never forget at the very end of the movie, he was like, so what did you take away from the movie? And I gave him a very rough but like loose recap of like what I picked up on just by feeling through it. And he was like, okay, well, you're not too far off. Like that's decently close. Here's a couple key moments or things that happened that you might have missed. And this is who this person was who, reappeared and different things. So I think that'll always stick with me because too, it highlighted this, what I think we often call language barriers. Sure, whenever we're speaking verbally, that might exist somewhat. But when it comes to really like communicating and understanding one another, I don't think that a language barrier, I don't think it's as powerful as we oftentimes give credit. Because I think we have our intuition, we have our feelings, and just like some soul knowings sometimes that strike different chords within us that help us understand. So that was a very specific moment early on in the trip that also I think made me more open to receiving, not just information, not just like a movie moment, but it just like evoked this curiosity in me. So also, whenever I talk about the whole theme of receiving, it's like allowing blessings, allowing beauty and support without over-explaining or overcompensating. Does that make sense? Like, to truly receive means letting things come to me, to us, without the need to earn them. And to some of you, this may, seem like not a big deal, but for me and my experience up until now, receiving is not something that has come easily to me. It has always shown up in beautiful ways. But 9 times out of 10, on the other side of that giving that I'm receiving, there's something else there. There's an intention, a motive, an expectation that's unspoken but felt. And oftentimes how that has shown up for me is, I don't know, it usually makes me feel guilty. It makes me feel like I need to pay them back because that was the unspoken expectation. So having to relearn and rewrite all of this around receiving has taken quite a while for me. And I think what I know now is receiving is an act of trust and worthiness. And when I see that now as an act of trust and worthiness, it really makes me reflect on, like, who do I trust now? Well, I trust myself way more now than I ever have. And knowing my own worth is reflected now in these new relationships, these people who surround me now, which is, by definition and illustration, the law of attraction. And so in Paris, oh my God, it was like, I think the best way I know how to describe this to, and how I've actually described this to friends and family, I'm like, guys, I think I've found a location that is like the closest embodiment and reflection of myself. It's like me, but in like a destination. And yes, I've gotten a lot of laughs from that, but I'm telling you, I felt it. And like, I could take up as much space there. I could wear whatever I wanted to. And it didn't feel weird. It didn't feel wild. It felt like pure liberation. And I felt damn good in whatever I put on. Also, I was working with the same clothes for the most part that I had packed 5 months ago. So that made it very interesting and creative, to say the least. I posted a couple on Instagram. They were funny. But it's true. Like, I could put on whatever. And I just felt, my God, like, oh, I felt so good. I was feeling myself, I'm telling you, and everything I put on there, which is new, because my experience living in Nashville, even Chicago, everything's covered up because you're wearing a coat 90% of the time. But in Nashville, like, there was this expectation, and I was still operating out of this like external validation place in my life. So there was a certain look and there were certain rules that were unspoken. But if you lived there long enough and you went to the right places, you picked up on them, and those are the rules you followed. And then suddenly, next thing I know, I'm living in this tiny little box called acceptable. And like, I get to Paris and I'm like, oh my God, this bright colored floral print bomber jacket. Like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Well, I had to go on this process, this journey to like unlearn all the things and love myself a little more before she could show up and I could appreciate her. I didn't buy her, but maybe soon. So anyways, yeah, I just like, the freedom of dressing in ways, it was almost like an added layer of what I mentioned in the Bali chapter, which is, I'm talking about the designer Myra Penaloza, who I found in Bali, and the whole idea of like what we wear being in perfect alignment and in harmony, in the sense that it's now reflecting externally what we're holding and who we are internally. It was like Paris took that and was like, honey, let's turn up the volume. Let's just dial it up. And oh my God, it felt so amazing. So there was that. My matcha life continued. I found this boulangerie, they call them, which is like, sounds very fancy for bakery. It was called Copa. Obsessed. The ladies who worked there, amazing. And what's interesting is their ceiling is nothing but a mirror. And so while I'm buying all of the gluten-free pastries, and it became one of my favorite matcha spots as well, I remember I looked up in this mirror and I was like, oh my God, Paris is like, it's my mirror. It's mirroring back to me who I'm becoming. but like more refined, way more refined than Bali. And then it's like, okay, it's even fine tuned just a little bit more, like sharpening the clarity on like a camera. Does that make sense? That's what it felt like in Paris. And so I had that moment in this bakery and I couldn't unsee it. Guys, every window I walked by, I was like checking myself out and I was looking at her. I was looking at me and I'm like, oh my, I've never, like, this is embodiment. I've never seen this version of me. I look different than I did in Spain. Like the tan is starting to fade. My eyes are looking a little bit bluer. Like we are so rooted. Like these roots haven't been touched in 5 months. Like, but oh my God, I love her. Look at me. And just like having this true, genuine adoration for myself, it was a full circle moment. It took me back to a very, very, very not fun, pleasant place, a very dark place. No, it was before I even started the process of my divorce. I was looking into a mirror in Nashville. In our apartment, I was still married. And my husband at that time was in the shower. And I was getting ready for a big final. Because I was studying speech language pathology. And it was finals week. I'm looking in the mirror. And I'm just like, oh, Whitney, who are you? Who are you? I had on so much makeup. I had dyed my hair like a strawberry blonde. And so extremely thin. It was like I was a skeleton. And I remember thinking to myself in that moment, like, oh, not only who am I, but like, how do I even start to love myself? Guys, that was April or May of 2015 or 2016. Yeah, almost a decade ago. And I'm not telling you your story will take a decade. It will take a decade to learn to love yourself. Not at all. I don't believe that for a second. That's just my experience and that's part of my journey. But to now be on the full circle side of that, to be literally walking the streets of Paris, looking at myself, taking photos of myself, and call it conceited if you want, but to be in this space and to love that reflection back and to start like, my style is changing and everything about my reflection is brighter and lighter and the limitations are gone. Like the city just really reflected back to me radiance, freedom, expansion, and love. Love for self, love for others, love for strangers, like love and gratitude for this journey. I'm like, oh my God. It was Paris when I started to look back on different moments in Spain and Bali and even before vision boards where these places showed up and I didn't even realize it. So I'm like, oh my God, like now I'm starting to really believe the whole concept that the universe really does like to surprise us in ways that bring us our wildest dreams, not just like our desires, but like our dreams and then some. And I can only say that because that's been my experience. Like I've lived it. I'm living it. And one of my favorite, actually, Little Wit showed up 3 times too while I was in Paris, by the way. I have to share this because this is so important. So the first time I was walking down the street and I was talking with one of my friends and I'd completely get paused and stopped, like totally tune out. I know that's terrible. And I hate it when people do that to me, but it's just what happened. Like it stopped me in the moment. This little girl is on a tricycle, a red tricycle, blonde ponytail. And she was with what seemed to be her dad and her brother, maybe. And she was bringing up the rear, and the dad was like, come on. He was like, hurry, we got to cross, because the little crossing light was green. And I see her, and she is literally, the reason she's bringing up the rear, you guys, is because she knew how to drive the tricycle. And sure, maybe she needed a little bit of that extra support. But this sweet baby is like scooting around on this tricycle, not paying attention to the road ahead. She's so focused on her reflection in these storefront windows and these mirrors, she can't stop looking at herself. I felt so seen in this moment. I stop and I just appreciate this truly. And it probably, who knows what it looked like from someone watching me, but I couldn't stop watching her watch herself, because what I saw was little Whitney in her and adult Whitney in Paris, who can't stop looking at herself and loving this reflection. And I was like, oh my God. And sure, people are vying for our attention, telling us to hurry up, do this. Whitney, have you booked your flight home? Where are you going to be in the next 2 weeks? Guys, I don't even know where I'm going to be later tonight. Like, I don't know. I'm so in the present moment. And that is the biggest takeaway. When it comes to receiving, sure, I have all these different, evidential moments where I'm receiving every friend that I met, like just showing up in a way where they're taking care of everything, whether it's my luggage, whether it's the check, whether it's helping me find my way around or booking tickets. Like, there was so much ease in this city for me. Driving me around on their scooter, and doing it from a place of pure joy and want to. Like, I felt the difference in this type of giving and in my receiving. It felt free. It felt weightless. It felt genuine. It felt authentic. And so, but more than that, what I was being gifted to receive is the present moment and presence. God, there's nothing I can even compare to that. And there were moments where I would text my family or my friends and be like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. I would have like 10 messages I hadn't responded to within a day or two, which isn't like me. And I often found myself responding or replying back being like, I'm so sorry for the delay. And then I realized, like, should I be sorry for the delay? Like, checking that expectation around, response time and what is the expectation and how have I showed up previously that now is different? Well, guess what? I'm actually being present. I shouldn't be sorry for that. No. And it's in the moments of being present where I talked about this in episode 8 about the cosmic wink. It was only in the moment that I chose to be present in the bakery that I got to interact with this angel of a human being that was so divinely choreographed, coordinated, orchestrated, call it what you want, like the divine timing of it. And I know it's only because I chose to be present. Because I could have had my earbuds in and when he said something, I wouldn't have heard him. Which, guys, normally when I'm out and about, I always have my earbuds in. Always. Audio is a huge thing for me. So I'm usually always listening to music. But I wasn't that day. And so to be gifted with not only the present moment, but enjoying my own presence and the presence of friends, the presence of new experiences, like the presence of new experiences, a new destiny, all of it. Oh my God. It changed so many old patterns. And most of all, Oh, I need to get back. Okay, so I talked about Little Wit on the tricycle. Also, my mind is going in a million different directions. I should probably use notes, but here we are. So when I saw Little Wit on the tricycle, the last thing I want to say is I also saw this version of myself who's doing something new and who is, you know, so wobbly, maybe not on a tricycle, but in recording a podcast, like creating content. And sure, maybe it's clunky sometimes, and maybe I'm not doing it fast enough or, consistent enough, but it's a start. And I'm really proud of that. And not only am I proud of what I'm creating, I'm proud of who I am in showing up the way that I do. And in everything that I'm really proud of her. I'm proud of me. I'm proud to be me. And so, yeah, I saw all of that in this little moment with this little girl on the tricycle. Next is, this one's actually really cute and funny, but I was walking along the Seine River and I was starving Marvin. So I decided to just stop over at this little place. It was a total tourist trap. But there wasn't many stops along the way where I was at. So it got me. I go in, and the guy working the front counter he does not get paid enough because he was really turning in he was really getting folks to come in and eat some pasta. And I will say the pasta was amazing. But, so I've been on this diet since Spain. And I have, it has been brought to my attention that I need to maybe lay off the gluten, maybe lay off dairy for sure. And, sugar, coffee. So I get to this place, and of course, all they serve is pasta. And I was like, you know what? Whitney, treat yourself. Celebrate yourself. So I get this pasta. And I'm already eating half of it. And oh my God, it was freaking delicious. I would not do it differently at all. But I could feel in my stomach thing. I was like, okay, here we go. But I didn't stop at the pasta. Guys, anytime tiramisu is on the menu, you better believe I'm going to be ordering it. Even if it's just for a bite. Oh my God, I love it. So there's coffee and more dairy. And a shit ton of sugar. It's fine. So I'm breaking all the rules. And I wore this one piece zip up, okay? My God, this spandex one piece. And of any of the days to not be wearing it, it's probably that day when I'm eating all the things I shouldn't have. Anyways, that doesn't matter. What matters is the waiter sits down the tiramisu and I see this baby girl. Oh my God. And I definitely have photos to prove this. She was in a pink little 2-piece outfit, this little crop top, little ruffles on it, and this skirt. And that little belly, oh my God, was so cute. Just pooched out. She does not care one bit, doesn't even realize she has any kind of belly pooching out, which is the way it should be. But with my adult lens, okay, my adult female lens, I'm seeing this and I'm just laughing because I'm like, oh my God, I do. I freaking love my team of light and my angels because I'm like, y'all be trying to tell me Whitney, look at this little girl. You see her? That used to be you. You used to not care about these things. You used to not buy into this programming that you should look a certain way and da. But more than that, look at her. She's owning it. She's turning flips in the aisle. She's taking up all the space. So much space that the servers couldn't even get around her. No, she's full stopping traffic behind her and traffic in front of her. And servers legit carrying all the food on these trays. So unbothered. And it made me laugh. It made me smile. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this tiramisu. Girlfriend, thank you. Thank you for your presence. That has inspired my dessert eating right now. And I'm going to rock this spandex suit whenever I walk along the Seine. And I'm going to let it be. We're not going to care. So that was number 2. Okay, number 3. Oh, as I was leaving, so I booked a train ticket to the south of France, which is where I'm at now, in Aix-en-Provence. So this was a destination that was always on my radar. Again, like I said, it's where my sun line runs through from my astrocartography. If you don't know what that is, I talk more about it in episode 9. So yeah, this location had my attention for a very long time. And I was like, I can't leave France without going. So I get a train ticket. I actually met a friend, one of my dearest friends who I met in Bali. I've only known him since Bali. And this man, so he was like, Whitney, let's go I think we agreed for lunch. So we go to lunch. And I had like pre-scheduled an Uber or something. And after lunch, like I was going to give him the keys to give back to our mutual friend that I was subletting her apartment. The plan was already planned. And so at lunch, he literally says to me, out of the goodness gracious kindness of his heart, because he really is an angel. Shout out to the Libras. You guys, oh my God, I love Libras. And he says to me, he's like, Whitney, and he had driven on his scooter there. He was like, Whitney, we have plenty of time. And he's like coordinating this whole moment of how he can come with me to the train station. Again, receiving like, what? Oh my God. I hadn't even thought of this at all. And he was like, we could just bop around the corner, get your luggage, and we have time to just like walk with your luggage to the train station. And then I can help you like get there, get settled, the whole thing. What? Again, an old pattern, an old narrative that I would often hear is, Whitney, you're a bother, you're a burden, this is inconvenient, I don't have time, etc., etc., etc. And your luggage, like, yeah, right, I'm not going to be dragging that all over the city. No. That's my old pattern. And his sweetheart, he was like, oh yeah, no, it's no thing. Let's go get your luggage. We have plenty of time to walk, which I love to walk anyway. Like, yes. He was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay. So we go to the apartment. Just a note, in Europe, when people say the first floor, that's very different than the ground floor. The first floor is what we in America call the second floor. So steps were involved. That's what I need you to know. So we get there, I get the luggage, we're locking up. I give him the keys in the name of responsibility. I did not want to get to the south of France and still have my friend's keys. So I give him the keys. We're locked up, and he's helping me carry everything down the stairs. Guys, we get outside on the street. This man says, because it's like a carry-on roller bag, and then the bag that has a sleeve to go on top, and a very heavy backpack. This man says, here, give me your luggage and your backpack. I said, what? He was like, yeah, no. Like, I'm going to carry. And I'm like, I struggled. I really struggled with receiving that. Because this man has 2 bags he's rolling. And when I tell you this backpack is heavy, like, it's heavy. And then I'm just like with one of my tote bags. He pushed and carried all of this luggage all the way to the train station. So when I tell you I am learning reception and to receive, like, it's in big, beautiful ways like this, and it's very consistent. So anyway, we get to the train station. Little Wit shows up. Actually, I'm a twin, if you didn't know, and I actually saw me and my sister. So I'm standing there. You just went to do something else, to get sparkling water, maybe make a call, I don't know. And I'm standing there, and these little girls come out of nowhere and start circling my back, where I'm standing, me and my bags, just running around. They couldn't have been, they're probably the ages of my nieces, like 3 and 5 or something, maybe 2 and 5, just running in circles around me for 5 minutes, just giggling and breathing so heavy. I mean, they did it for 5 minutes. Like, their cardio is better than mine. But I was like, oh my God. And two, in the moment that I'm like in transit to another location, like it was so beautiful. And the energy of it was so special. And I just saw me and my sister in our purest forms of like, oh my God, this is joy. And it reminded me how much joy, true joy, and shine and radiance and laughter that Paris brought me in every experience, in every moment. I don't know that I had one like super heavy, maybe, no, I don't think I had one like super heavy, like negative moment there. So it was just, it was so beautiful. So that was my third moment of just receiving this glance into Little Wit. And also, I cannot end this episode without mentioning, I would go to this coffee shop in Paris way too often. It's called Merci Noir. And there was this set of twin, very elder women that came in, and I saw twice there. Twice. And I matched one of them the second time I saw him. And it was like, again, getting this like future glimpse of not just future Whitney, but it was like I saw my sister too. I'm telling you, Paris really held some special, special moments. And I'm to wrap all of this up, because I know I've just like in a very scattered way talked about my experiences and different things, but I really received and accepted all of who I am and who I'm becoming. Past, present, future. Very much alive in the present. Very excited about the future. And you know what? In the acceptance and in receiving this and just really loving her, for the first time in my life, I felt like I embodied and took up all of my space on my own, which I think is a prerequisite and necessary to do before we have a partner enter our lives. And I felt that. And what I know now, thanks to Paris and her beautiful gift, is I will absolutely never dim my shine again. I won't. Instead, if or when a moment may come where someone may be bothered or have thoughts and opinions about my way of shining, I'm going to let them. Because maybe, speaking from my own experience, those thoughts and or opinions of my shine is triggering their desire to want to shine and take up space too. I don't know. But that's what I'm going to lean into. So, we're here to shine, baby. We are not going to dim our light anymore. Cheers to episode 11. Thank God for Paris. And Paris would have never existed without Bali. So in the release and in the surrender, in the suck, because that tends to be what it feels like, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always the opportunity, the possibility for shine and significance and receptivity. That is Paris for me. So, I did exit Paris, but I do very much feel to my core that I'll be back soon. We'll see. I think that, sometimes first, something must go. something must be let go. I think this reflects back to me a natural process that maybe we don't like to talk about. And that is that first something must be let go. Then the story must be rewritten. And only then do our hands and our hearts remember how to receive. Maybe your release will look differently than mine. Maybe your rewrite will surprise you. But the receiving, that's the part the universe has been holding for you all along. So, friends, that is it for episode 11. We wrap the series of release, rewrite, receive, and hopefully the following episodes will be a whole lot of receiving. Well, that was fun. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, for trusting me with your time, and for joining this moment, this mirror, this movement of remembering. If something in today's conversation lit a spark, I'd be so jazzed and honored if you'd pass it on by leaving a review, sending it to a friend, or bringing it into your own conversations. For now, you can connect with more inspo, reflections, resources, and our beautiful community on Instagram at The Mirrored Muse. Until next time, stay wild, stay soft, and remember, you are the Muse.